But it's all there. Everything is there. All the art is there. All the performance is there. All the music is there. And most of all, and very important in these parts, the community is there. In February, and the interviews we had this time, the community is there. You've got a cross-section of school, you've got a cross-section of community, you've got the mayor who's very much into what's happening, you've got the university, you've got everything. We don't have a lot of what you've got. We've got to actually get the community involved. We've got the community involved. We have to literally go and beg people, do you want to take part in Carnival? Yes, we do in Carnival. Why don't you come along? We have to do that. We don't have, you've got the energy you've got there is that cross-section of people. I mean, we visited a school, and again, it's there. All the kids were like, ready to go and ready, you know. But something is missing. I still can't figure out what's missing, but something is missing. And it's just how you take all these points that I saw on Saturday and make it work. One of the things I've noticed about Tyrone Carnival, it's very theatrical, and there's nothing wrong with the theatrical carnival, but it's very performance-oriented. That's why I came to the conclusion it's more parade than a carnival. You know, it's to an extent, it's a little too theatrical for us. What we try and do is we incorporate all the art forms of carnival. So for us in the UK, we've got samba and we've got drumming. So we have the Brazilian element of carnival, which is a big part of our lives in the UK. We've got what we call the Caribbean carnival, which is about music, costume, and dance. It's not so much about performance, it's about the costume. In the Caribbean, what we've done is we worked on costume. So you've got the music, the dance, and the costume element that comes into play. And that dance and that costume is what, I'm sure everybody here, when you dress up, when you put on something really nice, you feel really good. And for us, that style of costume is important because that energy then comes out when you're feeling good about yourself. A lot of times, when we work with community groups who have no idea of costuming, no concept of making something, we work with them in little form. Create little templates, they make something that on Carnival Day they look and feel really good. That is the energy. Because they get dressed up and they're feeling really good. That is the energy that makes Carnival not a parade. And then we have the community groups who want to do their own thing. They want to, oh, I don't want to make this, I don't want to dance. We want to be, you had a church group in your procession. There's nothing wrong with that, that's their choice, that's community, that's what they want to wear. So our carnival is divided into different sections. So when our audience, the public, looks at it, you get everything. You may have the community groups that don't want to make, some people are very lazy. I'm not talking about here, but in the UK, some people are very lazy, and they just don't want to go to the sticking, the gluing, the cutting, the dancing. They just want to put on a mat. Or they just want, oh, we got some costumes from something. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is why community art is there. Even as an artist myself, I would come up with a design or something and give it to the community. They go off and they make whatever they want. And the only time you see it is on Carnival Day. Sometimes you go, oh my God, what have they done? But in between the bit, you see the little new, everybody has some little artistic point in them, and there's no control over what they do. But that's community art. So our procession is made up of all the elements. And that is something that you probably need to look at. Instead of trying to get everybody to do something, let people be free. Let people celebrate. Let people be in carnival. And that's why, but it all depends for us. The direction of carnival is how you feel. If people are happy with the way it is, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the theatrical carnival. There's nothing wrong with Tantric carnival. I personally think it was great. If you ask me as an artistic director and an artist, yes, there's a lot of elements that you can take and develop. I wouldn't say make better, because that's not the right word. It's called development and development skills. There's a lot here that I would say you don't need to make anything better. You just need to develop. And one of the things I noticed was basic skills of what we call as artists wearable art that we've perfected over the years. How you take costume, if I'd say regimented costume, and make them a little more fluid, because dance carnival is about movement. It's learning to make costumes work for you. I mean, for me, the wings. We saw somewhere here, these wings are the easiest way to get anybody to look good because people are lazy, but they have to raise their hands. So your wings will always be there. Something in your hands will always be there. I move my hands a lot, I know, but on carnival day, you're not going to walk around with your hands at the side of you. You do something. Any movement is learning to use those skills of developing what you've got here. And what you've got here is good. It's just developing it. Yeah? So these are some points that I looked at while I was here, and it's some points that probably you need to look at. In terms of what I'm saying is, you need what you would like to develop. And one thing I never got was, what was the carnival budget? That's where we start. This is a sort of, for me, I need to see this as an artistic director or project manager or whatever you want to call it. It was never clear what was the budget. I don't know what's the budget, I don't know where the budget is. And for me, without the budget, if you're going shopping, there's no way you can buy something if you have no money in your pocket. So, somebody needs to come up with a budget of what carnival will cost. In the UK, that's where we start. We have a proposal, we want to do carnival. The next thing they would say to you is, go away and do a budget and come back to me. With that budget, I would say, well, I need X amount of dollars, and this is what I'm going to create for you, and the budget is broken down. It's not just a figure of X, Y, or Z. It's a broken down budget of how you're going to spend it and what you're going to deliver. Giles likes that. Giles is very strict with money. So you don't get a lot of money from Giles. He never gives me a lot of money. He always squeezes me. But you owe sometimes. In our case, Giles said, in 2010 we'll have X amount of pounds. What can we do for that? And I take that budget, I go away and I say, well, this is how I can spend your money. And this is what I'm going to deliver for you, because if the council, in our case, if the council is giving you money, they want to see what they're getting for it, what are they paying for. And at the end of the day, is how many people taking carnival, what are they achieving from it. So, I say, well, we're going to give them making workshops, dance workshop, music workshop. So we need a budget, you need a budget. Somebody needs to come up with a budget. Somebody needs to say, well, I think in order to develop the project or the carnival, we need this budget. We need to come up with, somebody needs to come up with a budget. There should be a discussion about the budget. There's no way you're going to say, I want $10 million to do this project, and somebody's going to say, hey, there is obviously going to be a discussion. And on the topic of budget, I think what was also happening is there are too many different elements of the budget. So there was budget for school, there was budget for community, there was budget for artists. That's not how we work. We have an overall budget. We know what's going to school, we know what's going to community, we know what's going to artists. But we need to have an overall budget. We need to have a breakdown and an accountability of how